Mega Man 2 is your average Joe's favourite Mega Man game. Released in 1988, the player follows Rock M. Man in his Game of the Year winning epic quest to dethrone the evil Dr. Wile E. Coyote. Apparently, it also has the power to give you a cold. In spite of my illness, I feel it necessary to document this game's features. As it is the nichest in the original sextology, this is a video nobody has ever dared to make before. This is also the first game in the series to use an introductory sequence to let the player know what game they are playing. Since the game's story is kind of not told at all outside of this cool intro scene, I will be here to show the hidden meanings, the nukes of truth, buried within Mega Man 2. Following an incredibly familiar sounding song, I get dumped onto the level select. All I have to say about it is that if you aren't picking Metal Man first, you haven't got a brain. The level starts off with these crushers which hurt like a bastard if you're too slow to get past them. Another common theme in the level is the conveyor belts, which are seemingly there to slow you down. They get quite cleverly merged with the drill tunnel section later on in the stage, which is usually the only part of the level I take damage of. The rest is very easy, leading to the first fight against Metal Man. This fight is very easy, since he has a pattern about as predictable as the 5th season of Stranger Things. Even Zelda 2 was better than that piece of shit. I would suggest you do Flashman stage next, so you don't forget about him later. It is also one of 3 testing grounds for your brand new weapon, the Metal Blades. For the ease of beating Metal Man, this weapon is ridiculously overpowered, firing in 8 directions and only using 1 energy for every 4 blades you fire. Flashman stage does make it so that you have to go about them sometimes, such as here when the worst enemy to ever be in a Mega Man game is introduced. This is also the game's ice level, which, if you know me, I'm not a fan of in multiple senses. The Metal Blades are so powerful, they switch Flashman off before he can even attack, which results in me getting to watch the longest cutscene in the game with the most annoying music. Oh my god, I'm so sleepy. Bubba Man's only difficult obstacle was these frogs, which vomit more frogs when you approach. The Metal Blade was designed to shred his level up, much akin to how a wild boar shreds through the flesh of a European colonizer who forgot to bring his musket from his plantation in upstate New Amsterdam. This stage features the Metroid, which is a reference to how I spent 3.5 hours playing the original NES Metroid for the Nintendo Entertainment System and then canned the video because the game sucks so bad. Bubba Man actually has a decent chance of hurting you, mostly because his weapons are all over the screen, but since they don't even cut one layer of skin, you could damage boost this fight and still have about 95% of your health left. Besides, he's also weak to the blades. As we enter into Woodman stage, with his funny fucking name, I'd like to apologise if you hear any creaking noises. My chair is literally falling apart, even though it's only about a month old, and at that age I've got to protect it from the president. I promise that if my chair gives out, I will leave me falling on my ass in the video, if that's any consolation. Fortunately, this is the final Blade Runner adjacent stage in the game. There are these hot dogs which shoot fire at you. However, they suck and they're easy to kill. This part of the level reminds me of that one guy whose parents are divorced and he saw his mother kiss his brother's father, his stepfather, for the first time right here. It says a lot when somebody else's parents kissing. It's such a vivid memory awoken by game design. Even if it's just a stupid Twitter meme, it's hard to believe that video isn't even a year old yet as of recording. I have a theory that Woodman can be killed in a single cycle, however I'm yet to do it, so for now it's impossible. Killing him in 2 cycles though, different story. Now that you finally have the leaf shield, enter Airman stage. The stage features a lot of these goblin platforms, which again is probably Capcom Sonic inflating your playtime with their stupid disposed enemies and their rising spikes. These things are pissing me off. I forgot to mention in Woodman stage that this game doesn't have just one annoying ass enemy. These things are called peepees, which drop an egg, ugly truth style, on your face, letting these spermlings hurt you. At least they can be killed with the metal gears. Solid. For these goblin platforms, I'd recommend using Time Stopper to stop them from hurting you before the final peepee section. Airman himself is piss easy, though sometimes you will get hurt no matter what, because Mega Man 2 wasn't programmed to be completable. Fortunately, you can just get some shit in his fans. Probably the weakness which makes the most sense to me, because when I was 7, my mum had to stop me from accidentally burning the house down, trying to put shit inside the fan cage. Heatman stage features disappearing blocks, which can be almost entirely skipped thanks to the route I've taken. Item 3 lets me avoid them in this room, while item 2 lets me avoid them here. Heatman is genuinely the most beta robot in this game, not being based on a cigar or even a cigarette, but the lighter? That's some shit a trouble kid would bring into school. In my school, the trouble kids catch cases instead of carrying contraband, though I'm not sure what's worse. If Heatman stage reminded me of Electman's disappearing blocks, then Crashman reminds me of the climbing. So much climbing. I feel as if my brain's been sucked out of my ear with a straw. This section is particularly annoying, with Pee-Pee flying in from the side, ready to knock you off the ladder, sending you crashing to the floor. Get it? On some of the screens, you can pre-fire to make PP drop his egg into the abyss, and you should probably do that for risk of turning into a Mega Man shaped bloodstain on the ground below. Crash Man is weak to the air shooter, which is difficult to aim usually. However, since he is programmed to jump every time you shoot, this fight is another snooze fest. It's at this point I'm starting to wonder when the levels in this game will get hard. However, the final Robot Master stage, Quick Man's, doesn't leave me wondering for very long. This stage features lasers which kill you instantly. Such a potent weapon that I actually took a death here. After a brief dark section, a second harder laser section follows, which is programmed into my natural muscle memory. So I didn't die here. You know who else has natural muscle memory? I fight more Armor Joes to arrive at Quick Man. Now, Quick Man is weak to Time Stopper, which does 50% of its health. Good, but not enough. Supplement some of this damage with a charge shot from a Heat Man's Soy Cannon. Switch to Time Stopper and watch Quick Man slow down. Warning! Every boss fight from here on out includes a flashing effect when the boss gets hurt. Don't watch beyond here if this will affect you. I'm being dead ass, no snark. Click off if you have like epilepsy or something like that. Mega Man 2 adds a map of Wily's castle, a nice touch, though his obsession with skulls makes me think he's employed by the Department of War. This theme is probably one of the best songs outside of Mega Man 3 in series history. Call it overrated as much as you want because I haven't cleaned my ears in 6 months. The composer, Takeshi Tateishi, is genuinely one of the most legendary in video game history. If not for this game's countless hits, just this would be enough to cement him there. The level kind of blows though. If it wasn't for the super fucking epic dragon fight, most people wouldn't remember anything about this stage, apart from the music. The second Wily stage is even weaker, with very few enemies. The Drill Tunnel returns with a vengeance, as do these crushers. 6 minutes ago was really a better time, wasn't it? The boss in this stage is one of the most random in series history, one of Wily's nefarious security systems. I don't think it's too ridiculous to say that Wily looks like a slightly hairier, less angular Dr. Nefario perchance. As you kill more of these Pepto things, they speed up. Not hard to deal with, since Metal Blades would make its Proximus Centauri 2 years before Light ever could. Not Dr. Light, Visible Light. You know what, before I move on, some separate science students may remember a song about the electromagnetic spectrum. It sounds like total shit, not too dissimilar from my own recording quality. However, it's such a bloody earworm. I would play it if I wasn't scared of the poor bastard who made it seeing this video and getting upset with me. Because it's bad in a charming way, you know? Like Despicable Me or Gassy Bowser. You know you shouldn't enjoy it, but you can't turn your head away. Do you know what I mean? I actually can't remember whether or not combined science students study the electromagnetic spectrum. Mostly because, even though my brain has been in my ass since I started secondary school, at least I have one. The third Wily stage is just more of the same, it's just kind of nonsense. So I'm going to use it to summarise my personal opinion on the game, rather than just ripping jokes. So, I do think it's a good game. However, the thing with Mega Man 2 is, it's still kind of rough around the edges, because, well, it was made in the developer's free time. They weren't allocated proper time to make the game, which explains some of the problems. You'll see that when I cover Wily 4, because Wily 4 is such an egregiously bad level that I feel like, you know, I have to cover it really. What else? Yeah, some of the bosses were way too weak. I mean, I was playing on normal mode, but even on like hard mode, Airman only takes 4 leaf shields to get rid of, which is like way too few for one of the, what's supposed to be one of the hardest bosses out of the first 8. It does make some improvements. So, for example, the game just feels a lot more polished than Mega Man 1 did. Like I said, it is still kind of rough relative to NES games. Maybe you saw this. There was graphical errors in Metal Man stage where Mega Man becomes literally invisible. You can't see him. I think the soundtrack is good. It's a great soundtrack actually. I've already glazed the soundtrack, but it's not better than Mega Man 3. I don't think it's better than Mega Man 4 either. But it has highlight. It has very high highs. But the stupid fucking receiving a weapon music. I don't know what to call it really. That it's just not very good relative to like 3 and 4. I mean, even 5 and 6, they're like, the bland, boring ones before they switched over to the Super Nintendo. But even they've got more character than just the drums, you know. And the balance is off completely in Mega Man 2. Like, I killed 3 of the first 8 bosses with the Metal Blade, and you'll see later on how unbalanced the Metal Blade is again when the boss refights come back. That's something I think they improved, but we'll wait for that. The boss fight in this stage is the Guts Dozer, which takes about 5 seconds worth of quick boomerang to kill. So no more of him. Well, it's time. I think Wily 4 is the worst designed level in the game, as well as the whole of the sectology. For the first half, the gimmick is the floor not having collision in certain places, which would be fine if it was telegraphed, but it isn't at all. This makes this part of the level very unfair, and just not fun. Granted, it's not as unfair as being completely impossible, but still. The second half is such a drag, with these tedious conveyor sections artificially controlling the player's speed. Quick break to say that while I was distracted from recording, I saw an Oxford United fan who looked like the guy who just bought land in the metaverse. Back to ranting now. The final enemies are all Joes, some of the most annoying in the game, and the boss, the Boo Beam, is the pinnacle of terrible game design. You need 6 crash bombs to beat it. You can't damage it with anything that isn't a crash bomb. Do you know how many crash bombs that Mega Man can carry in Mega Man 2? 7! Most of the time you will be using all 7 crash bombs, because making sure you only use 6 is bloody hard. Since you can't refill if you die, you also need E-tanks, since mostly the bullets are kind of undodgeable. You can, however, glitch the bullets with the pause menu, so they can't hurt you. It's quite hard to time though. However, there's an easy solution to the puzzle that the Boo Beam lays upon the player.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
Wily 5 is mostly boss free fights. I'm not going to talk about these except for our good old orthodontal acquaintance, Metal Man. Watch this whole fight from start to finish, and tell me what you see. What was that? Well, dear viewer, you just discovered that Metal Man is weak to his own weapon. This was meant to be a sneaky Easter egg for game magazines to talk about. However, it hasn't even passed Valentine's yet, so I don't know what the devs were thinking here. The first phase of Wily Machine 2 is simple. Just chuck blades at her. If you need me to tell you that, go and play Hello Kitty on Adventure or something else for more your speed. The second phase can be skipped with a well-timed crash bomb throw. Good luck with that. So, now the game is over, right? Well, no, because Wily survives, and now he's running to his true final hideout, Wily Stage 6. You can make your way to the far edge of the screen and walk past all of the glum drops before they fall on you. And then, Dr. Wily reveals himself, slowly taking off the mask and showing he's an alien! Holy fuck! Because you know your adversary so well, you spray him with bubbles because he's afraid of showering. And after some basic movement, you have beaten Mega Man 2. Give yourself a stroke on the brothers. You earned it, buddy. So, I already kind of summed up my thoughts about the game in general, but I didn't actually talk about what I thought the ending was going to be like. Well, Wily being an alien is certainly a choice, however, he's just a hologram, really, so, you know, you could have done more with the alien thing, Capcom. But some final thoughts. I don't like pits, I only like feet, sorry guys.